everybody, and welcome to another very sexy episode of Yeah, We Read It. My name is Laura. I am one of your hosts.
And my name is Meggie, and I am the other host.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
And
I
if
am.
you're catching us right now, we are in our fourth episode of our 12th season, which is Gossip Girl. And we're reading book 4, Because I'm Worth It. And boy, do these titles really just all start to blend together. I started when Maggie and I logged on to do our podcast today. I said, what is the name of this book?
They're all positive affirmation themed with a bit of cunt served as well. I really think that these would do well on t-shirts marketed towards like suburban moms with drinking problems because I would buy
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
That's my whole
Yeah.
MO is being a suburban mom with a
They would do
drinking
really well as, like,
problem.
things I yell to, myself in the mirror in the morning, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a really
Um,
fun book because I read the most random PDF assortment of chapters.
yeah, Maggie's gonna be playing catch up, and Laura's gonna be driving the car this episode because boy, did Maggie tell me what was in their notes, and was it all out of order. It's
Yeah, I
almost
don't know.
a mystery, if you will.
It's so funny too because this was the 4th book was actually the one that I started reading first because the PDF made it sound like it was the first book. So I got about 60 pages into this book before realizing it was not the first book.
It's so funny because it's like the first time you read it, you got 60 pages in and then realized it wasn't the right book, and then this time you read the entire thing and didn't realize it was out of order the whole time.
I had nothing to base it against. I don't know. You gotta get those free PDFs where you
Yeah.
can.
I mean, I do feel like a lot of plot points in this book could have just been strewn about and you still get the idea.
Truly. Absolutely.
And with that, let me plug in my keys to the ignition and we're starting this car. Hop on in, Maggie. You're riding shotgun.
Passenger
Um,
princess.
It is February. We open with a little Gossip Girl post, and Serena and Aaron are still a thing, and Dan and Vanessa are still a thing. But we really don't get much from these Gossip Girl posts. It's very much like, this is kind of an idea of what's going on. At school, we have
Mhm.
new peer groups. Those are becoming a thing where it's the seniors have to like basically take the freshmen under their wing, give them womanly and lively advice. And Jenny is in Blair and Serena's peer group.
Oh, yeah, she's so excited about this, except for Blair doesn't really acclimate or take well to her at all because if we remembered from the last book, Nate and Jenny were like a little bit of a thing, and Blair kind of hates Jenny because she associates Nate dumping her for Jenny
Yeah.
as a thing.
And my favorite thing about the dynamic is it's Serena and Blair are very good cop, bad cop peer group leaders because
Mhm.
like Blair kind of hates it. Serena just does not give a shit at all. All she talks about is herself every time she's in peer group. So she's talking about how in love she is with Aaron. And Jenny, of course, little studious bumblebee over here is just like, I'm gonna make peer group worth it. And decides to just tell everybody she's trying to get a breast reduction.
Yeah, she says that she went for a consultation, but she didn't go. And people applaud her, but also girls are very confused by this because they're like, well, if I had huge knockers, I wouldn't get them
I'd be
reduced. Why?
milking them all over the place. That's a direct line from the book.
Is it really?
No.
Oh, I would have believed it.
That'd be so funny. Um,
Um, yeah.
yeah,
Is this
you
when
good?
Yep.
Do you want to guess what happens next?
So in this next chapter, Dan Humphrey,
You're on the right
am I
track.
okay? Dan Humphrey has just gotten his poem published in the New Yorker.
Okay.
Um, and this is the poem. I actually think that Laura read a little bit of it, but I have a little
It was the
snippet of it.
slut poem.
Wipe the sleep from my eyes and pour me another cup. I see what you've been trying to tell me all along, shaving your head and handling me so delicately with satin and lace. You're a whore. Um, yeah, and he says, I don't think this is a good poem. And I mean, he's not wrong. Like, he's not wrong about this, but it did make the
Yeah.
New Yorker, so.
Yeah. And him and Vanessa are hanging out and they agree that they're finally going to have sex with each other. So very exciting times. And that's kind of where we leave them. We leave them to pee in the Viet.
P in
Um,
the Viet.
pee in the Viet, as the Gossip Girls would say. They
Mhm.
wouldn't say that. I'm just making things up. Meanwhile, our resident, I don't even know if we can call him a bad boy because he's not. He's kind of just like there. Our resident stoner guy, Nate, he's decided that he's going to stop smoking weed. So he is going to the pizza place where he buys weed, and he's like, "This is gonna be my last weed that I buy."
Yeah, it is. And is this when he is in the park? Is he
No, this is when he's at the pizza place.
um Okay, so is Nate goes to the pizza shop. Is this is I don't fucking know, to be honest.
It's okay, I'll keep going. And he's like, he's going to the pizza guy. He's like, "Hey, pizza guy, where's Mitch?" And pizza guy's mad. He's like, "No, Mitch doesn't work here anymore. We only sell pizza. We do not sell weed." And it's like, "Geez, Louise." So I'm going to get out of here. And he decides that he's using, like, "Wow, the universe is making me stop smoking weed even sooner. That's totally fine." And he's going to tell Blair that he stopped smoking and get some high accolades from her.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely going he's definitely going to do that. Wait, is this when he calls Blair, who's just getting her hair cut,
Yeah.
and he's just like, I'm not smoking weed anymore." You'll
Yeah.
never guess what page this is on in my notes. This is on
What
page
page?
5 out of 7.
That's so
S
funny because this is on page 27 of my novel.
So, he tells Blair that he's not gonna smoke weed anymore. Blair is getting her hair cut, and she's going short, so she's already
She
stressed.
no more luscious locks for Blair. She's changing herself. Yale interview, new woman.
Yeah, she's getting a second chance with Yale. She's so excited. Her dad spent so much money at this school, so she should get a second chance. And she is going to meet up with this Yale alumni, Owen, who is going to meet her Friday to interview her at this hotel. And she's like, I gotta get a hot dress for this interview.
Makes sense to me. And now let's check in 5 minutes later after Dan and Vanessa have finished boning. Surprise, surprise. Dan, our resident prude, who was like, sex has to mean something. Loved it. Changed man. He's even worse than he was before. And wrapping up this post-coital moment
Oh,
is
yeah.
Vanessa's sister Ruby, who's like, "Oh, by the way, I opened your NYU acceptance letter. You got into NYU." And Dan and Vanessa are like, "Whoa, that's so cool."
Dan is a little off put and bummed his girlfriend got into NYU because I don't know if you guys know this, but he hasn't heard back from college yet. So he's not really excited. And she tries to entice him with sex to make him forget about this because,
And they do. They fuck again. So like
they
it
fuck
worked.
again.
And then we check in with our other lovebirds, Aaron and Serena. Aaron's waiting for Serena after school with his dog, and Serena's so captivated, so in love, she wants to get tattoos.
Yeah, she does. He says though that tattoos are against his religion, which we don't know what his religion is.
Which is weird
Besides,
because, like, also he's such a laid back, cool guy. I picture him as somebody who would just like have a bunch of tattoos.
yeah, I mean, he's smoking like herbal cigarettes and has locks. I kind of
He drinks
imagined him as a
beer and he's a musician, you know?
I don't know, I viewed him as more of a free spirit hippie than someone who is religious, but I guess that's,
I don't know. That's
there.
what I'm saying. I feel like he's more of a free spirit. Of course he'd want to get that tattoo.
And it also seems like there's a bit of tension between Serena and Blair now, which I read is Blair jealous of Serena's relationship with Aaron?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of was interpreting this a few ways. Like, one, maybe Blair is a little just irritable that her best friend is dating her stepbrother who she's trying to disassociate from.
Mm,
Or maybe Blair is a little jealous because she secretly has feelings for Aaron.
maybe. I guess we'll never know.
And now let's check in with our huge boobed freshman, Jenny, who's making a friend her own age finally.
Yes, she is. She makes friends with someone in her peer group named Elise, who starts off this conversation by pointing out Jenny's bra size.
Classic.
And then they go shopping at Bendel's, where they run into Blair, who is feeling in high spirits. She offers them some makeup advice. Jenny sees a cute boy in the store, and she kind of, uh, as she leaves because she's too afraid to talk to this boy, Blair throws Jenny's email address at him to email Jenny. Love is in the
Wow,
air.
Blair's a changed woman.
I guess so.
Um, we've got our second college acceptance letter of the book. Erin gets into Harvard,
Ooh.
and Blair comes home to Erin and Serena hanging out like in their underwear in their room, and Blair gets very like annoyed at this. Um,
Yeah,
but
she
yeah.
is.
Yeah. Again, I can't read her. I really wish we kind of got like what is Blair's real feelings about this? Like I get she doesn't like it, but why? I want the why.
'Cause it's like, I mean, I don't know, your stepbrother, I think it would still be weird to see a step sibling in underwear with, your best friend, but it's like, that's not they're not really your sibling.
Yeah.
You could drink champagne, jump on
And
the
it's like I
bed
don't think
together.
she's on yeah, I don't think she's like it's one of those things that's like, oh, I don't think she's like, oh, gross, my stepbrother in his underwear. It's something different, clearly, but we're not talking about it.
We're not talking about it, but Serena and Aaron do tell each other that they love each other for the first time in this moment.
Wow, that's pretty
Mhm.
crazy for them. And gossip girl alert, it's a gossip girl post and it is fashion week coming up everybody. Dan is finally giving into capitalism and buying his New Yorker issue.
Yes, he is.
And he ends up getting a little compliment from Chuck, who is apparently no longer a character in this series. He is so in the background now. And Dan also is getting like a lot of praise. He's getting praise from colleges. He's got
Yeah.
agents calling him. Like one poem changed Dan's life.
Yeah, his dad calls and tells him that Brown and Columbia are interested in him after
Yeah.
this poem. So, pretty bonkers stuff.
Pretty bonky wonkies.
Jenny and
Um
Elise? Is that the next one?
no.
Damn it, I really thought I was on track. Okay.
Yeah, but Serena does meet Blair on her stoop, and we get more of Blair being annoyed about Serena and Aaron, and they run into Jenny and Elise and are like, "Oh, hey, we're all in peer group together." And then we get Nate, who has been drug free for about 24 hours and is bored out of his fucking mind.
Honestly, hey, that's relatable. He's just gotta sit in his thoughts a little bit, and who wouldn't find that boring?
Well, yeah, and he hates it so much. He does not like to sit in his thoughts. Instead, he's gonna go find somebody in Central Park who will deal him weed. He runs into Mitch, who is his drug dealer from the pizza place, just out and about in Central Park. The universe god spoke to him.
But did it because it turns out that Mitch, is a narc. So,
Yeah,
Nate gets busted, the cops haul him off, and it's bad news bears. That's what we're
that's kind
saying.
of. It also sucks for Mitch because like Mitch was busted, and then he just got like basically like his service instead of going to jail was to help the cops and be a narc.
Yeah, so I guess, a win for him.
Meanwhile, Dan has let all of this go to his head so fast. So he gets a new haircut, and Vanessa's already like, well, I kind of like it, but it doesn't really seem like him. And Dan has to have some form of mania because he's already like, wow, now that I have this poem published, I'm gonna write a book. I have to go do all these things. I have people I have to meet, and he's already being flaky towards his girlfriend who just deflowered him.
I know, wouldn't you be so sad? I would be like, "Please
I'd
pay
be
attention
so
to me."
annoyed. What a dick.
And they're also supposed to be working on a film together, that it
Mm.
seems like Dan is blowing off, but it doesn't really seem like it matters because Vanessa also is kinda on the come up. She tells Dan, that she, met someone who wants to be her agent, and his name is Rudy, and he invited her to be at an anti-fashion fashion show during Fashion Week.
I think you skipped ahead a little
God
bit.
fucking damn it. All right, well, that happens.
Only a little bit, only like 10 pages, because before that, we get Serena, who has been asked to model in New York Fashion Week because she's so pristine and so pretty. And
Mhm.
then she gets a lime green jacket that she's gonna give to her one true love, Aaron. And then that's when Ken Mogul invites Vanessa to Fashion Week. And Vanessa
Mhm.
calls Dan to be like, "Isn't it so funny that I'm getting invited to Fashion Week? That's so dumb." And Dan, who's now the worst person alive, is so happy for her. He's like, "Oh my god, that's going to be amazing for you, babe. You're going to love Fashion Week." Like he has truly like changed his personality.
Yeah, he got that really bad haircut with the really long sideburns is kinda how I saw it, and I mean, everything
Yeah.
came up Dan for him in that moment.
Oh my god, yeah. I hate how quickly he changes in this book. He's like, "I'm an artist. I'll never sell out." Sells out so fucking fast.
Yeah. So, Vanessa is getting ready she's gonna be using a film of hers for the backdrop of Fashion Week. Am I is it Oh,
I
cool,
mean,
and
I don't know if that's explicitly stated in this part, but that does happen. Yeah.
because that's just kinda, like, how that is gonna work, and she also has a really good idea for the short film that she wants to work on with Dan, which is called Making Poetry, where he just kinda writes shirtless, which I
Yeah.
love.
That's basically softcore porn. Um, and then we check in with Jenny, who is in her writing class with Ms. Crumb, who is the resident gay teacher
Mhm.
at the school.
Yep, she's, quote, "a hard ass," because I guess she's a lesbian just kinda pushing students to their fullest potential?
Yeah, I would call
I don't
that a
know.
hard ass.
I would call that a hard ass sewer. And Jenny is kind of with Elise, and they decide to go bra shopping after
Mhm.
this. And Elise is like, we can totally see Elise's boobs. I think is what I
No,
was getting from this.
We can see Elisa's full body, and Elisa keeps commenting about like how insecure she is, and then Jenny tries on bras, and Elise will not stop staring at her tits.
I would not know how to feel about that.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe if I had huge boobs, I'd expect my friends to be staring at them because they're awesome. But
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
real.
know. I don't know if it's creepy or what. We also in this before they went shopping, they were like in the writing class. They had to write about body parts, and we learned that Jenny's just like writing about Elise's nose. And now that Elise is like gawking at Jenny's tits, she's like, "Oh, by the way, I was writing about your huge bazoingas for my writing assignment," which is like, for that, I would be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you writing about my boobs?"
Yeah, I think that is the part that I wrote that I was like, I don't know what to make about this because you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I feel like it is very natural, for girls like, I don't know, I've showed my boobs
Yeah.
and have
Yeah.
been seeing boobs
If you're
since
my
the
friend and you
dawn of
haven't seen
days.
me naked, you're missing out.
I honestly think, like, I was showing boobs and getting them shown to me in, like, 1st grade, what can I say? I
Yeah,
got
we're
game.
all showing boobs, left, right, titty, flash.
Exactly, but to be writing about it, I mean, I don't know, that's like yearning, which is
Yeah.
fine if it's consensual, I guess.
If your
Who
yeah,
knows?
if your urine is consensual, it's good. It's good to go.
It's good to
Um,
go.
it's good. It's G to G.
Mhm.
And now Owen Wells, resident hotshot, Blair's dad's friend, he's showing up for his interview with Blair at this like hotel lobby, and Blair's immediately taken aback because boy is Owen Wells hot.
Oh, yeah, he is. I mean, she just, like, cannot pay attention. He's, like, interviewing her about going to Yale, and she's like, "Woo, thank God I wore, like, a hot dress." And it's going
It's
pretty well.
I
The
mean, it's so
interview is.
funny because like this goes from like it gets so casual so fast. Blair's like drinking a Coca Cola, and he's like, "I won't tell anybody. You can get a glass of wine." And his like interview is also like a page long. He asks her like three questions, and then Aaron and Serena come up to be like, "We're gonna go to Fashion Week," and Blair's like, "Not now." And then they're like, "So what do you do for fun?" Like they're immediately on a date.
Yeah, yeah. Owen kinda asked her to clarify what she did in her first Yale interview that she thought wouldn't get her admitted. She's like, Hey, I kissed the interviewer on the cheek, after crying about, like, my boyfriend and stuff, and that's when he's like, "You know what? As a 38-year-old, I think I should flirt with this girl." And they do kinda resolve to call each other again. I don't know, I didn't
I
really
think
get
he's
like it was
older
about
than
Yale.
38. He's Blair's dad's age.
Oh my gosh, I thought he was
Yeah.
38.
Well, no, because well, think
Oh
about
my
it, because,
god.
like, what Blair's 18, her dad's probably, like, 48 or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it just went from bad to real bad.
I mean, honestly, if any 48-year-old with with a big wad of cash wants this situation with me, I'm not 18, but I am poor. Blair isn't poor either, though. I'm not really selling myself fine. I just need money from an older
Yeah, well,
man.
I mean, maybe that'll work. Somebody will be like, "I love how modest they are."
Hit Meggie and Laura present at gmail.com because you gotta go through
Yeah.
my manager, Laura,
Hey,
to
if
get
anybody has any
money.
leftover money, we'll take it. We'll take it. We do get a little brief check-in from the Gossip Girl. The only thing we really get from this one is that Nate is touring rehab places because of the whole weed situation. And then we immediately check in with him at his rehab place in Connecticut. I mean, he has to go to it 10 hours a week, which is a lot.
Yeah, 10 hours. I wrote down that if it was 5 times a week.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like 2 hours a night, 5 times a week.
that's so he's on a
Isn't that awful?
$3,000 bond, which I don't. Okay, no, I'm smart enough. I mean, actually, that's not that's well, that actually is a lot. That's kind of a lot for
It's a
a
lot.
non-violent drug offense.
Yeah, misdemeanor.
At this place, he meets Georgie, otherwise known as Georgina Sparks, if you watch the
Hubba
show, who is
hubba.
someone who loved cocaine so much that she sold her show horse, Jesus, for more of it.
Honestly, I loved that that was Georgie's intro into the Gossip Girl world. Is it just like, she's rich, she loves drugs, she recently sold her horse to get a bunch more. And I'm like, that's kind of awesome. Georgia can fuck, she's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She seems like an absolute blast. She seems like she's like almost on the cusp of ODing, and she looks like Snow White, is how I
Yeah,
imagined her
yeah.
in
So
my
she,
head.
so she's hot and she's cool, is what I just heard.
Exactly. Yes.
And we do get like a brief like Katie and Isabel moment in this book. Like they're also kind of very, very background characters at this moment in time, but they do say that Chuck is probably gay now. So like that's like a whole development that Chuck's rumored to be a gay man.
Yeah, he got highlights at some point in this book, which kinda tipped everyone off to
I
thinking
mean,
he was
Maggie,
gay.
do you have highlights?
I do. Oh my god, I
So
do, and I'm gay. Oh, no.
I don't have highlights. That's how you can tell.
That's true. Readers, you heard it here first. Readers of the mind, because 'cause they're listening.
I'm gonna publish this to the Wall Street Journal. I think they'll really like this scientific discovery I've just made.
I think they will too.
It is now. Do you want to try to guess the next plot point, Maggie, or do you want me to take it?
Blair is at the Best Fashion Show.
Yeah.
Nice. And she is there with her half brother Aaron. They're gonna watch Serena walk. She's kind of upset because she's like, "Why am I at this fashion show? When I should be going to the prestigious Yale."
Yeah. Serena is wearing an I Heart Aaron shirt on the runway. I don't really get what this is because like Serena was wearing her school uniform and this like baby tee that she bought. So I'm like, aren't you supposed to be wearing like a collection at a fashion show?
I don't know.
Um,
I imagine
but
it is like you get a Hanes and a Sharpie from CVS, and she wrote "I love
yeah,
Aaron" on it, and it's all the
it's
rage
all the
because a
rage.
skinny white girl is wearing it.
But do you know who it is not the rage with?
Who?
Aaron. He is not down, which is weird. I feel like he does a weird character shift. Like he was always like so like easygoing and like vibe down for anything. And now that his girlfriend, who he says he's in love with, is wearing a shirt with his name on it, he's like, whoa, 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 too serious for me.
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling that like both. I mean, him and Blair are upset in this moment. They leave because they kind of feel like second class to Serena. He never struck me as like a spotlight person, which I wonder if that's
Yeah.
what the clash is. Is he's like kind of a quieter. I'm down with nature, but like he would never post on Instagram. He'd have a really weird grid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know. So they both leave, and meanwhile, across town, Dan is at a different fashion show.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow, it only took us 25 minutes for me to figure out where we are. And someone asks him who he's with. He's like, I'm Dan Humphrey. I'm published in the New Yorker. I'm not with anyone. An island of my own. What does the stars belong to the sky, or does the
Oh my
sky belong
God.
to the stars?
Somebody asks him to sign his poem for them because they just have a copy of the New Yorker like in their bag. And of course, it goes straight to Dan's head. He's like, I am the chosen one. I'm a god amongst these men.
I know. I can't, like, who would, I don't know. I don't even, who would be just, well, I guess the New Yorker you would carry around, but like, even sometimes, like, my favorite authors, I kind of don't know what they look like. And for a
Yeah.
magazine, a poem that's published once, I would not know what that person looks like.
Yeah, right? So, who fucking knows? And also across town, Vanessa's also at a fashion show, probably having the most like normal experience. She's like, "Oh, it's cool I'm here." And they were playing my short film in the background.
Mhm.
And she's having a good time.
Yeah, she's at like the Chris Angel of Fashion Week shows. There's like red lights. There's
A
floating
great metaphor.
candles. There's I wrote her film is being projected to add ambiance to this 14th century pirate bonanza vibes.
Yeah, it's very hot topic in my head. It's very
It
like
is.
high fashion hot topic.
It's literally called Jedediah Angel. That's who
Yeah,
it is.
exactly. Everything we've said has been correct.
And Jedediah asks Vanessa to stand up front row and bow, and this kind of causes a stir. It's like alert. It's like, who's this mystery
Ooh.
filmmaker?
Ah.
Ooh.
Ooh. Now let's check in with the two people who are not at a fashion show right now. Jenny and her new best friend Elise, who are having a little slumber party. And Elise has no chill. She's like, Jenny, you love to paint? I need you to paint me. And Jenny's like, yeah, I love to paint. And Elise strips off all of her clothes and says,
Yes.
cool,
Yeah, she
paint
is
me.
just like butt naked, getting painted by Jenny. And Jenny,
Do we have to appreciate Elise's like go forwardness? Do we have to appreciate it? I think we might have to appreciate it.
I feel like you have to. I mean, like, I don't know, the girl wants to be painted. Who doesn't want to be painted naked? And
Yeah.
she just kind of goes for it. She's
Yeah.
very confident.
Yeah. And what's wrong with confidence?
What's wrong with confidence? I mean, Jenny painted Nate 6 times. She can paint
Exactly. The
her
least she
friend.
can do is paint her one friend naked once.
Yeah, exactly.
Blair is going on another date with Owen, and there is a very big snowstorm afoot. So he blusters in, being like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm late." And Blair's about to lay it on real thick with Owen. This felt like a teenage boy wrote this scene. Like that's how insane it was.
It is snowing outside. She lays on a bomb. She's like, I'm a virgin and I went to jail. And she tells him to kiss her, which is honestly iconic.
He's like, "Yeah, let's kiss." Like it works. Post fashion show, Serena's out and about with other models. They're doing little snowball fights in the streets. They're at bars. She ends up selling her I Heart Aaron shirt for charity because she's such a good person.
Hmm. Good for her. Um, And during this snowstorm, it's also Nate has just had his group meeting with everyone, and him and Georgina have kind of resigned to going back to her place and
Yeah.
smoking. And they're hanging out in her bed, which seemed really big and cool. She also, I had to look up what like a Roman lounge couch is, or like it was like a fainting couch she had and a
Oh,
big
I love
jacuzzi.
that.
Um,
Um,
and he's like, "Can I kiss you?" And she's like, "Sure." And it seems like they might maybe do more.
like kind of like a match made in heaven. A little druggy here, a little druggy there. They're drugs made in heaven. They're kissing.
They're kissing. A drug
And
made in
speaking
heaven.
of kissing,
Yes.
Elise and Jenny has put her foot down and said, "I cannot paint you naked anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to paint anymore." And at some point in the putting away of the paints and the putting the clothes back on, they find like a how to be a woman book from the 70s that is really just like a sex guide that apparently Rufus bought for Jenny to essentially teach her about the birds and the bees.
Yep.
And Elise is also somebody whose parents have bought her this book, and she has read it extensively.
Yeah, to the point that, like, they're looking at opposite sex positions, and Elise is like, "Boring. Let's skip to the same sex position, section. And also, do you wanna try anything, while we're at it?" And Jenny seems like she's like, I'll kiss. I mean, whatever. That's fine."
Yeah. They decided to practice kissing.
They do.
Yeah. And now Dan, after his fashion show, is meeting with Rudy, his agent. And he's at this after party, and he ends up meeting this girl that's her name is Mystery. She's also one of Rudy's clients. She is
Mystery craze. Like, she sounds like a horse that you bet on.
yeah. A horse. Well, she's exclusively described as having yellow teeth, which I think is so mean. Like
And yellow
every
fingernails.
character every character that interacts with her is like, and there's Mystery's yellow ass teeth again.
She has yellow fingernails, so Dan will not be biting hers off the same way he did Vanessa's in the last book.
You don't know that.
That is true. It does seem like despite her fucked up teeth, Dan is kind of attracted to her. It might be because she said that Dan's agent, who is also her agent, called her the next Sylvia Plath, but they kind of end up kissing here.
Yeah, which is not good because Dan has a girlfriend. I honestly feel like Dan is like, if a girl is giving him the time of day, he's like, wow, this is poetry, this is romance, this is living. And so he's
Yeah.
gonna fall for it every time.
I mean, it's
Um,
not I mean, Vanessa is flirt with, like, this surfer guy that Ken Mogul introduced her to at Fashion Week,
yeah,
but
but she
it's
just
not the
dances
same.
with him.
Yeah.
And she even feels guilty about that, but she's like, I'm just dancing, it's okay.
Yeah. Not the
Um,
same.
well, things are getting hot and heavy in this
Oh,
book
yeah, they
because
are.
Blair and Owen have decided it is too stormy outside. Let's get a room at the hotel.
So they get a room upstairs at this hotel. All they do is make out and they kind of talk about his wife.
Yeah,
But
because he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm still married," and she's like, "Oh,
Blair thinks it would be okay what she was doing if the wife was really stupid, but it seems it seems like the wife works at like a really prestigious I don't remember what it was, but to me the wife like worked at NASA and Blair is like this isn't very Audrey Hepburn of me to lose my virginity to a guy whose wife works at NASA.
he's like, your wife had to be more bimbo than smart, and I would have done it." Yeah, Blair's
Yeah.
interesting here because it's like she has morals, but only in a way to really like make her look really, really good.
Yeah, because she asks what the wife majored in, and he says astronomy, and she's like, "Oh," but I mean, if it was English or something, she would've been like, "Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like,
fine."
"Oh, art history? Sure. Yeah, let's bone. Bra
Sure.
off." Um, Rufus Rufus calls Jenny to say, "Hey, stop kissing right now because I gotta tell you, too snowy outside. Your girlfriend's got a sleepover." And Jenny's
Yeah,
very uncomfortable about
she's
this.
really stressed, she's like, "You know what, Elise? You can sleep in my bed, I will sleep on the sofa," and Elise is like, "But what if you finish my portrait?" And
Or
Jenny's
what
like,
if we, like,
"Listen."
did hand stuff? That's basically how I interpreted it.
I did too. Jenny's hand already hurts. She can't that's the thing about lesbians, your hand hurt from either 2 things, what you would expect or painting each other naked. That's the
You just have
lesson.
a ton of paintings behind you right now, and you're like, "I don't know what to do with all of these."
I don't know what to do.
Georgie has kind of diverted from the kissing path that her and Nate were on. Um she's she is flying high right now. She
I
is
am
having them
obsessed with
play
her.
pretend in her attic in an old horse carriage. And Nate's like, "This isn't what I had in mind when you said we would go like hang out in your old horse carriage. Didn't think we were going to play horses, but here we are."
She's playing
Um
horses, and then she pauses for a minute to, like, get out of the carriage from pretend whipping the horses, and she's like, I just found some horse tranquilizers if you wanna fuck with them, because I do.
And, like, Georgie is hilarious because she's like, "Okay, I took these ones, it totally zonked me out. What if we each took one? No, what if we took 2 and saw what happened?"
Nate is also, like, noticing that her upper lip is sweating because she excused herself for a minute to go to the bathroom, so she's definitely on stimulants too.
Yeah, she ends up falling asleep, like, in her bed. Nate, like, carries her down the stairs, and Nate turns into the narc because he's gonna call Jackie from who runs the youth group that they're in, and he's like, "I think Georgie took some pills. What am I supposed to do?" And it's like, "Nate, Google it and don't rat the girl you're trying to bone out."
I know, Jackie is like, "I will send a van, just make sure that she is breathing in her sleep and not vomiting." And he does.
And he does. We're back at peer group,
Oh my
and the
god!
group is still peering.
Yes.
Um, and Elise, she's gonna remind Jenny about the romantic weekend they had. She's like, "What does everybody here think about kissing?" And no,
Specifically kissing girls in front of Jenny to Serena and Blair.
yeah. And Serena's like, "Shush, shush! I have my fashion show to talk about. Kissing's fun. Now let's talk about me."
I love that Serena says kissing is fun, and Blair's like, "Boys like when you kiss girls in front of them, so that is okay." That's okay.
That's such high school advice.
Yeah.
And also, big bombshell in this moment. Blair watches a shunned Elise who was shut down from the kissing conversation write her name over and over in her notebook and realizes that her name is Elise Wells, daughter of Owen Wells, the guy who she just had an affair with.
Not good. Dan, meanwhile, we move on to Dan.
Hmm.
Nice. Dan, oh, you know what? I might not you take this one because 'cause I'm not sure that I'm right about this,
All
and it
right.
seems like a
Meanwhile,
bomb.
Dan, and it's Valentine's Day, by the way, folks. Dan is at school and
Oh,
he gets a gift. This is insane. He gets a gift from Mystery, the girl from the party, and he's like, "Oh shit, I have a girlfriend and I didn't do anything for Valentine's Day." And we learned that he's like, "Oh, by the way, I had sex with Mystery at that party." And this has been days later and he's like, "Oh, right, right, right. I have a girlfriend that I just cheated on." And I'm only remembering this because the girl I cheated on her with gave me something.
that is true. Yeah, he decides to write Vanessa a lackluster poem that he has no inspiration, so all he does is, like, says phrases from those candy hearts, and then he also mentions that he lost his virginity again, which
That's
Vanessa receives and is so confused.
She thinks it's a joke because she's like, "What? Who says I lost my virginity again?" And across the computer lab, I guess, Jenny gets a note from a secret admirer on like her secret admirer portal. Apparently, everybody has a secret admirer portal around
That's
Valentine's Day.
fun.
That wasn't explained, but that's a part of the book now.
Yeah. She gets 1 from a guy, she gets 2 from Elise, and she is, going to find this guy. It seems like a guy who has seen her on the bus, so she is like, Now I gotta ride the bus for hours and just try to
Yeah.
find this man."
Blair is home. She leaves school early. She's like, "Fuck this." She goes into her fancy apartment and her mom's like, "By the way, having a girl." And Blair's like, "I do not need to hear that right now." And we also learn that Owen has left her a lot of voicemails.
And he sent her flowers.
Yeah. He wants her
Crazy.
to be his Valentine on that dick. Um
Yeah, he does. So she calls Owen and she kinda tells him off because she knows his daughter, she's like, "Piss off,"
and she's also
and
like, "By the way, I'm 18. What the fuck do you think you're doing?"
yeah, seriously. She also, after this move, decides to cut her hair kinda like Mia Farrow's in, Rosemary's Baby. Very short.
Yeah. She's really
Pixie cut.
hacked her hair off this book.
And she is.
Um, Dan, our little socialite, is going to meet Rusty or Rudy. Why did I put Rusty? Meets Rudy and Mystery at a
I thought Rusty.
hotel.
Okay, yeah.
Is it Rusty?
I don't know.
I
One of
don't
them.
remember. Anyway, Dan's meeting his agent, who is the agent to him, and Mystery, the girl he had sex with at the hotel that they're staying at. And we learned that Mystery's book is like out. It was supposed to take months, and now it's out.
Yeah,
Um,
she wrote the book in a week after they fucked. That's incredible.
yeah. Yeah, Mystery was so struck with desire. And Dan is like, "All right, we fucked that one time, but I'm not going to let it happen again." And then the agent leaves and they immediately go back to Mystery's room to have sex.
Yeah, Mystery's like, "I'm horny," and then that's it.
Yeah,
And he
Dan
figures
is
out that she's got yellow nails, and he's kinda into it. He's got, like, a weird
yeah.
nail kink.
Yeah, he's got like a weird yellow thing. I don't know. But this is also like literally last book he was like, I would never have premarital sex. I would never have sex without love. That doesn't mean anything. And now he's fucking everything that breathes close to him.
Exactly. He's like a gnat to a lamp or whatever. I don't know. In the
Yeah.
next one, Jenny is trying to kind of find the guy that wrote her a letter. So she's going with Elise to take the bus. Elise like rests her hand on Jenny's leg, and Jenny's really annoyed about this. And she falls out of her seat, and the guy who wrote this love letter helps her up, and it seems like they're hitting it off.
Yeah, yeah. They rode the bus for hours and they met him. His name is Leo. He is tall and blonde. We don't really get much about Leo other than that like he takes the bus and that he is tall and blonde.
Aw,
Um
he's
oh,
environmentally
and
friendly.
he's an environment guy.
Yeah.
Sure. Um this is my least favorite part of the book is Vanessa is going to call a world famous filmmaker to tell him, "Hey, I don't want to work on your next project. I'm going to go to college instead." And this is the biggest mistake I think we've seen in Gossip Girl thus far. Like this would be career making for her. She has an in. That's all you need in film is an in.
All she would have to do is take 2 years off of college, she'd go make a film with him in South America, and it also sounds like it's actually, like, a really cool film, like, they would, like, integrate
Yeah.
themselves into the culture, I think, like, cover a little bit of the poverty down there, and she is
Yeah.
like, "No, actually, I'm making this film where I film my boyfriend shirtless writing poetry, and I also
Right?
wanna go to
It's such a
NYU."
it's such a mistake. It's such a freaking mistake because it's like you don't need to go to film school. Like you can if you already know how to film stuff and you make connections, you can just go do that. Like
Also,
why do you
just
have to go to NYU?
take a gap year, take 2, it's
Yeah.
I feel like
She's like,
you'll learn
I've
more
always thought
and
about going to NYU though. So no, it's so stupid."
so crazy. So she turns down going to Canes, and then she sees this flyer for a poetry open mic with Dan, and she's like, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go support him. Because
And
that's
she's
what
gonna
my
go
job
film
is.
it because that's what she does.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Aaron his is he I don't think we said this. He like ran off to the suburbs of New York City to go stay with his mom after the whole t-shirt debacle. And he's out walking his dog or whatever, and he runs into Serena who is filming a perfume ad for the fashion designer. And they have just like a very weird and like cordial breakup where it's just kind of like hope you've been good, like it's just very clear that like there's no spark between them anymore.
And Serena cries one perfect tear, and the photographer captures it. Like this is some heart wrenching thing, and it's a 6 week long relationship, and then they
Yeah.
market this like tear as a perfume that's like the Serena's tear or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, which is a horrible name for a perfume.
Yeah.
And Blair, now very lonely, she decides to call
Aw.
Nate to catch up and he's like, "Can't talk, I'm in rehab." And she's like, "Cool, I'm gonna go to rehab too."
Yeah, she convinces herself that, like, Nate giving up smoking and trying to better himself is for her, and maybe rehab might be, like, a nice spa.
Yeah.
Um, and she is not deterred. Nate is like, "I take it seriously," and she's like, That's okay. I will be there. Who cares?" Even though he's
Yeah.
clearly moved on with Georgina, but
But she doesn't
whatever.
know that. She doesn't know that. And speaking of things that she doesn't know, Vanessa does not know what she's about to see at this live poetry reading because Mystery and Dan are doing like a two-person like slam beat poetry thing. And Vanessa's like, "Isn't it going to be so cute that I'm surprising my boyfriend and supporting him? I'm going to like videotape his set." And Mystery and Dan start yelling words in this microphone. Mystery takes Dan's shirt off, and starts like licking his chest. And that is when Vanessa realizes, oh, I think my boyfriend is cheating on me with the yellow teeth girl. Vanessa also recognizes that she has yellow teeth, even from the back of the venue.
Yeah, that's like the one Yelp review for the poetry mic. They're like, 4 stars, would have been 5 without the yellow teeth. Here's crest whitening strips. So they start making out. Vanessa's like, well, I have to film this for art purposes, which I don't think you have to, but
No, you
whatever.
could leave. Honestly, leave. Like, why do you need a film of this? So
She
she's just like
needs
crying behind her camcorder.
she needs to get more B reel for the local news. I'm telling you, she just got cartons of B
She's
reel.
waiting for like, a stage light to fall and like hurt somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh, we got this live footage from the scene."
Oh, like that one movie with the beauty pageant. I don't know. I don't know what it's called. It'll come back to
Are you
me.
thinking Drop Dead Gorgeous?
Yeah, yeah. Like Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I have not watched that movie in a while. I'm due for a rewatch of that.
Maybe we'll watch it after this. Who knows? We can text through it. Meanwhile, Nate is at I think it'd be fun. Group
That'd be fun.
therapy. He is kind of recounting the whole Georgina experience to the group, and he sees Georgina there. He realizes like I am so in love with her, but
They're
to their
flirting.
they are flirting, and she's like, he's my knight in shining armor. But this is the day that Blair is kind of starting her rehab experience. Her little rehab submersion, her submersive workshop at rehab.
Yeah, her little field trip to rehab for the day. Um,
So,
yeah, no, Blair shows up and realizes that they want some dirt on her. So like Jackie, the rehab runner, is like, Blair, what's wrong with you? And Blair's like, nothing. I'm here to learn. And they're like, Blair, what's wrong with you? And so Blair trauma dumps.
oh yeah, she's like so excited. Jackie's trying to like veer it back on course, but Blair will not stop talking. And then Blair kind of she like runs through all her problems, and then she admits that she like vomits after she eats, and Jackie's like, "Oh, so you're bulimic. That's what the core is." And Blair's like, "No, no, 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 no. I just choose not to have food within me. I don't know what this bulimia thing is."
She's like, no, no, no. I just purge occasionally, and it's very rich of me to do that.
Exactly. They pair up for exercises after this. Poor Blair. Georgina picks Nate, and Blair realizes, why the fuck am I here? So she
Yeah,
runs out.
Blair does realize that Georgina and Nate, there's something between them. She calls Serena to get her the fuck out of there because boy did she make a mistake.
Yeah. So Serena comes, picks her up, tells her that Aaron and her broke up, and it seems like it is single girl summer between them.
Woo!
Jenny, we go back to peer group. Oh, wait. Nope. You know what? That might be where the book ends. I don't
No,
think that.
the book ends with this little peer group field trip. It was a weird way to end this book. And it's just kind of like Jenny's kind of seeing this new guy, Chuck's handing out his birthday invitations, like
Oh, yes.
it's all it's kind of it's a weird end. I feel like it could have just ended with Blair picking getting picked up by Serena, but there's this weird kind of very non-action scene at the end about a field trip.
Hey, and to me, none of it made sense. Because the way my notes
Oops.
were phrased, I thought Dan lost his virginity to Mystery because that was way earlier in the beginning than him and Vanessa having sex. That was at the end of
Ooh,
my notes.
that is so funny.
Yeah.
Boy, boy, did you have a different read on this entire book. So I was like, doesn't that suck that Dan fucked his girlfriend and then cheated on her immediately? And you're like, wow, wow, I can't believe Dan had sex with someone else before Vanessa.
Yeah, no, no, no. I had a note that I was like mad at him for cheating on her. That's how he lost his virginity, and then and then he like went back to her and had sex with her for the first time. It was crazy.
Wow.
So there were a lot of storylines that this book went for both of us, and there's other storylines that it could have followed, which brings us to our top five. We kind of thought it'd be fun if it was the top five other stories Blair could have come up with in rehab to make herself sound interesting and cool.
Yeah, yeah. We felt like she was like a little too honest and dishonest at the same time, and she should have leaned more into the dishonesty.
We think coming in at number five, she should have just been honest right off the back and talked about having a crush on her stepbrother. She
Yeah,
needs
she
to
should
get
have gotten
after it.
rehabilitation for the crush that she has on her stepbrother.
Yes.
Number 4, I really, really think she should have, like, tested her imagination, and she should have talked about how she was, like, born into the circus, maybe ran away from it a few times, and addicted to peanuts, because that's not something you're normally addicted to, but, like, it'd be really interesting to see how Jackie would have handled it.
Hey, keep this girl away from a Five Guys in a Texas roadhouse, you know what I'm saying? Like, peanuts
Hey.
everywhere.
Hey, you said it, buddy.
Number 3, I would believe it. I don't actually know how her family makes money, but maybe her family is the drug cartel. You would
Makes
really need to
sense.
go to rehab for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of things around you. Number 2, this is speaking from Maggie's personal experience. If Blair said she was a groupie for Creed, the Christian rock band, and that she just like really needs some help.
Hey, Blair, that's not a problem, that's a strength. You know,
Yeah, that's
divorce dad rocket
that's
and
hey, you say con, I say pros across the board.
can you take me okay, anyways. And then number 1,
Me
r
higher.
fire. Classic.
Classic.
She is Dracula's apprentice.
Maggie recently watched Renfield. I also recently watched Renfield. Big Renfield
Right?
fans over here. Great movie if you haven't seen it. But boy, did Renfield need to go to rehab. Well, he went to a sport group, but that's kind of what like this is. So
Yeah, and I think that Blair could benefit from that as some life experience. That would be a college essay that gets her in. Are you fucking kidding me?
yeah, are you fucking kidding me? All right, Maggie, we gotta wrap this up. Who is your canceled character of this book?
I mean, is it gonna be Dan every week?
I mean, it was Nate. I think it went Chuck, Nate, Dan, and now it's Dan again. I feel like we can have a repeat. I'm wondering if it's ever going to be a female character in this book. Personally,
I mean, I guess Blair trying to fuck a married guy is pretty bad, but
well, maybe Owen is pretty bad for like trying
oh.
to.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with
Yeah, I'm
Owen.
gonna cancel Owen now that we've said that because like that was very bad.
That was a literal predator. Alright,
Yeah,
well,
and boy
Owen
was
is.
he really into it. She was
Yeah,
like,
he
"Oh,
was.
I'm a virgin." And he was like, "Say less." Throws wedding ring across the room and buys a hotel room.
Yeah, his, like, note on the Valentine's Day flowers were like, "I can be the Cary Grant to your Audrey Hepburn." No, no, no.
Yikes.
Weird.
Gross. Disgusting. Weird, bad, ugly. We hate it.
And if you wanna hang out around energy that is not weird, bad, ugly, or hate it, you can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Yeah We Read It. We are also on Instagram at Meggie_and_Laura. We are also at
And
email.
we are also on TikTok at Yeah We Read It. We're gonna post on there eventually, and you want to be ahead of the game, or you just want to watch the TikToks we've already made because they're all really good.
They are
They're
so
all
funny.
they're all they're all perfect.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess we'll be back next week with our book 5, name to be determined because I haven't looked at it recently. But we will see you then for Gossip Girl 5.
Love it. Bye.
All right, love it. Bye.